Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Wednesday at noon, 3 and 6 p.m. and again is re-aired later throughout the weekend with the other weekday broadcast replays. Today is March 28th, 2018, and now the news at noon.
Reported by the Durango Herald, a Farmington Police Department officer fired 4 shots at a Bayfield man who tried to stab him in a Motel 6 earlier this month during a standoff with police, according to New Mexico State Police. A news release from the state police, which is investigating the shooting, identified the officer involved in the shooting as Alfonso Cifuentes. Andrew Rossi, age 25, was a suspect in a February 25th shooting in Ignacio where a 47-year-old man was injured. Rossi was wanted on suspicion of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. According to the release, law enforcement with the San Juan County Sheriff's Office and the Farmington Police Department were sent to the hotel at 1600 East Bloomfield Boulevard in Farmington around 8:45 p.m. March 5th after an officer spotted Rossi's car outside the motel. Rossi was inside the motel with his mother, who exited the room around 10:30 p.m. and told officers her son did not want to surrender, according to the release. Officers tried to negotiate with Rossi for several hours to get him to peacefully surrender before they sent a robot inside the motel room to locate him. The robot helped them see that Rossi was hiding in a ceiling vent. FPD's SWAT team stormed the room around 1 a.m. after more than a 4-hour standoff, according to the release. They began to remove ceiling tiles and Rossi dropped to the floor shirtless and wielding a knife. According to the release, Rossi charged Officer Cifuentes and tried to stab him. Cifuentes pushed Rossi off and fired 4 shots, fatally wounding him. The release did not say how many shots struck Rossi.
From the Journal, photo from the Journal, the Bureau of Land Management plans to conduct several prescribed burns east of Dove Creek beginning at the end of March. The prescribed burns will take place along the rim of the Dolores River Canyon as part of a larger project to reintroduce fire to a fire-adapted ecosystem to restore health forests. Benefits include reduced hazardous fuels to protect wildland-urban interface communities, improved range conditions, as well as big game and sage-grouse habitat. The West Rim Pines project includes 38 separate units located about 7 miles east of Dove Creek. Several units of the project were treated in the past years and are showing positive results. A detailed burn plan outlines the parameters for prescribed burning on each unit. No road closures are expected during the project. However, camping in proximity to the units is discouraged due to increased traffic and likelihood of smoke in the area, particularly at night. We are monitoring weather and fuel conditions closely in hopes of finding an opportunity for prescribed fire that will produce desirable effects, said Ian Barrett, BLM Fire Management Specialist. The BLM obtains smoke permits from the Colorado State Air Pollution Control Division, which identify atmospheric conditions under which the burns can be implemented. Prescribed fire smoke may affect your health. There's more information on the air pollution impact online at colorado.gov. The prescribed burns may be initiated throughout the spring and will be monitored throughout the process to ensure public safety. Smoke may be visible in the area for several days after each burn is completed as vegetation in the interior continues to smolder. Most of the smoke will lift and dissipate during the warmest parts of the day.
According to the Cortez Journal, a bill pending in Congress would compel states to report details of fatal police shootings, like 3 in Colorado this month, to a national database. The bill would require states to identify the persons involved in the shootings, specifics of the incidents, and whether police acted appropriately. The bill was introduced by U.S. Senator Tim Scott, Republican of South Carolina, who said the government currently has no database that would allow the public to keep track of fatal police shootings. He said the database is a matter of government accountability. 3 fatal shootings by police have been reported in Colorado this month. The most recent such death was in Denver on March 19th. Support or opposition to the idea of a national database was moderate among spokespersons for some of Colorado's political leaders. Part of the motivation for the bill came from a 2016 U.S. Bureau of Justice statistics report that found the killings of about 545 people by local and state police each year never were counted in national crime records. Official FBI reports listed an average of 383 people killed by police each year. The new estimate is 928 people killed by police annually in the 8 years prior to the report.
From the Durango Herald, courtesy photo. Mary Malarsi, a longtime La Plata County rancher and mother of 3 who is frustrated with the 2-party political system, has announced her candidacy as an independent for the 3rd Congressional District. Malarsi joins 4 others in a bid to oust incumbent Representative Scott Tipton, Republican from Cortez, in the general election coming up November 6. Democrats Diane Mitch Bush, former Routt County Commissioner and former state representative from Steamboat Springs, Carl Hanyon, a Glenwood Springs attorney, Arn Manconi, a former Eagle County Commissioner, and Ruth Rutledge, a Durangoan who served as a presidential delegate for Bernie Sanders, are the Democratic competitors. Malarsi, 58, who is married to George Malarsi and has 3 adult children, calls the existing state of 2-party affairs dysfunctional. The politicians are so set in their party ways that a good idea could smack them in the face, and I don't think they would consider it if it came from the opposite party, she said. Malarsi said she has voted for third-party candidates for the presidency in the last 3 general elections with the hope that enough votes for non-traditional candidates would bring the issue of 2-party dysfunction to public consciousness. I'm not either a Republican or a Democrat, she said in an email. I'm a registered independent and have been for some time. There are issues popular with both major parties that I do not agree with. I value independent thinking on issues rather than party rhetoric. Malarsi has established a campaign website at maryemindependent.com about issues and a Facebook page as well. Malarsi's oldest son, Ryan, served in the Marine Corps, and her youngest son, Jonathan, is currently in the Marines. She said the dysfunctional 2-party system has imperiled timely military funding. She described Tipton's voting record as straight out of the Republican playbook. She said, I don't admire that strictness. As for President Donald Trump, she said she has not made up her mind yet about our current president. He has certainly turned Washington, D.C. upside down. I do think the office of the President of the United States should be respected and should be respected by the person who holds that office as well. I'm not sure that's happening currently. On fiscal issues, Malarsi agrees more with principles long advocated by Republicans. Everyone needs to pull up their bootstraps and work to help themselves, she said. If a person is truly trying, I have no problem. There's no such thing as a free lunch is apparently not true in America. We are all paying for that lunch. Malarsi wants a path to allow people who were brought to the country illegally as children to live here legally. We all originally came from somewhere else, and I can't blame anyone for wanting to better their lives, she said. It reminds me of Durango, where many people think we have too many people moving here and we should close the gate. She said providing greater assistance from the federal government for mental health programs would be a particular area of concern for her. Americans, regardless of income, need mental health availability if they need it. She said, I do believe gun violence is a mental health issue. Obviously, rational people do not randomly kill people. I don't know why, but the gun violence of the past 20 years is a cultural phenomenon.
According to the Durango Herald, a former Durango doctor who had her license suspended for prescribing too many medical marijuana plants to patients has won part of her legal appeal. Deborah Parr was practicing psychiatry in Durango in 2016 when her license was suspended by the Colorado Medical Board because she recommended higher than normal marijuana plant counts to patients. Her medical license is still suspended, said Carmen Decker, an attorney representing Parr and another physician. The Colorado Court of Appeals recently ruled a trial court has jurisdiction to hear Parr's claims that the state health department and Colorado Medical Board may have violated open meetings law. The Court of Appeals reversed a previous ruling. In front of a trial court, Decker said she can make a strong argument and expects a fair decision. Parr was suspended along with 3 other Colorado doctors because she authorized hundreds of patients to have at least 75 marijuana plants when it was not medically necessary, the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies said at the time. The standard plant count for a medical marijuana patient is 6. Attorneys representing Parr argue the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment and the Colorado Medical Board worked together in secret to develop a rule governing the number of plants a doctor could authorize for patients, court records say. An attorney for the Colorado Medical Board argued in 2016 the board was not charging the doctors with violating a 75 plant count rule. Denver District Court Judge Ross Buchanan was convinced the rule was the issue, and 2 years later the rule continues to be central in the case. The appeals court ruled in 2018 that the trial court does not have jurisdiction in other issues in the case, such as the doctor's rights under the Colorado Constitution to authorize marijuana for patients. And now let's take a look at the weather.
Nationally, the weather map from NOAA is still tracking the line of rain and thunderstorms that's creating possible flash flooding events from the tip of Texas through to the mid-Atlantic. A series of storms with snow, rain, and slick travel will sweep across parts of the north-central United States into early April, including part of the Easter weekend. The storms will travel from west to east along the boundary line between Arctic air to the north and Pacific air to the south. Snowfall accumulation is likely to fall in the 1 to 6 inch range, with perhaps a few places that may pick up a bit more, while most places are on the low end of the region. Rain and snow in the Intermountain West is scattered, and it looks clear back to the west coast and southwest for today. Regionally, snow will increase over the northern and portions of the central Colorado mountains this morning. Snow will become widespread and heavy at times over these areas this afternoon before decreasing and gradually diminishing overnight. Accumulations of 4 to 7 inches across elevations above 8,500 feet in the Elkhead and Park Mountains will result in difficult driving conditions over Rabbit Ear Pass today and tonight. A series of weak disturbances will bring periodic scattered snow showers to the northern and central mountains during the latter part of the week, through the weekend and into early next week. However, presently none of these disturbances appears capable of producing significant snowfall. And here in the southwest Colorado corner, fairly mild except for the winds. I think whenever they report breezy, you can count on it, at least in Dove Creek, as being windy. The DCTV 5-day outlook shows today is sunny with a high near 53 degrees, breezy. Come on now, okay, with a northeast wind 10 to 20 miles an hour becoming northwest in the afternoon. Tonight mostly clear with a low around 28 degrees and blustery with a north wind 15 to 20 miles an hour decreasing to 5 to 10 after midnight. Then Thursday sunny with a high near 54, northwest winds 5 to 15. Thursday night mostly clear with a low around 30, northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour becoming north 5 to 10 miles an hour after midnight. Friday sunny with a high near 60, east-northeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour becoming west-southwest in the afternoon. And then Friday night partly cloudy with a low around 34. Saturday mostly sunny with a high near 64 degrees. Saturday night mostly cloudy with a low around 38. And Sunday mostly partly sunny with a high near 63. Sunday night mostly cloudy with a low around 36. And Monday mostly sunny with a high near 63. Monday night partly cloudy with a low around 36. And now back to the news.
According to the Durango Herald, medical bills can push patients over the financial cliff, but a new study says this may not happen as often as previous research suggests. Hospitalizations cause only about 4% of personal bankruptcies among non-elderly U.S. adults, according to an analysis published Wednesday in the New England Journal of Medicine. This contrasts with previous research by former Harvard professor and current U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren and others that pointed to medical reasons as the trigger for more than 60% of U.S. bankruptcies. In the new study, researchers tracked the credit reports of more than 500,000 adults under 65 in California who had a hospitalization between 2003 and 2007 that wasn't tied to childbirth. They found that hospitalizations clearly forced some patients into bankruptcy in the years following their stay, said study co-author Matthew Nottowigdo, a Northwestern University economist. It just may not happen as frequently as the other research indicates. Researchers also estimated that hospitalizations were responsible for only about 6% of bankruptcies among uninsured patients. They noted that hospitalization rates are lower in that patient group compared to the overall non-elderly population. The new analysis included a broader range of people than earlier research, which focused on those who already had filed for bankruptcy protection. Such a narrow focus makes it impossible to infer the role of medical expenses in causing bankruptcy. Without information on those who had big medical bills and didn't sink financially, the authors of Wednesday's report noted.
Reported in the Journal, photo Jim Mimiaga. About 40 Dolores residents got a chance to hear from Republican state legislators Saturday at the Dolores Public Library. Representative Mark Catlin and Senator Don Coram, both from Montrose, gave updates on bills they support and took questions from the audience. The lawmakers praised the recent passage of Senate Bill 2, which could put as much as $150 million into high-speed internet for rural communities. The bill has gone to Governor John Hickenlooper to sign. It levels the playing field and will improve our economy, said Coram, who sponsored the bill in the Senate. Catlin supported House Bill 1099, which deals with internet providers' rights of first refusal. The Senate approved the bill, viewed as a companion to SB 2, and since it was not amended in the Senate, it also was sent to the governor to sign. HB 1099 deals with the right of first refusal, reported on earlier this week, an issue that drew legislators' attention in southwest Colorado last year when Elevate, run by a nonprofit Delta Montrose Electric Association co-op, bid to provide local high-speed fiber optic service. But CenturyLink had the right of refusal and took over the grant because it had been in the area longer. In Ridgeway, CenturyLink then installed the slower copper lines. That sounded wrong. Goad me. Catlin said they should have to match the speed and price of the company that won the bid. Catlin and Coram also sponsored a bill to increase penalties for harming a police horse. The bill, which was recently signed into law, was the idea of Montezuma County Sheriff Steve Nowlin. To prevent more water from being diverted to the Front Range, Catlin sponsored a bill that would allow Front Range communities to store water in Eastern Plain aquifers and then pump it back out as needed. It gives a place for municipalities to store their water rather than letting it run downstream, he said. The Front Range pulls 600,000 acre-feet of water annually from the Western Slopes Colorado River Basin through Trans-Mountain diversion. Catlin said allowing the Front Range to store the water in aquifers will put less demand on Western Slope water in the future. The bill is being debated in the legislature. Regarding the drought, the Coram and Catlin said the pressure should be put on the Front Range to use water more efficiently, such as recycle it and increasing regulations for smaller lawns. Once water is used to irrigate an ornamental lawn, it is consumed and cannot be recycled for more use downstream. By requiring landscaping on development, we are building our way into water shortage, said Catlin, a former water manager. Colorado as a community needs to understand that you don't need an acre of bluegrass. The point is the Trans-Mountain diversion takes water off of our farms and ranches in order to irrigate somebody else's rose patch on the Front Range, and that's a problem. Catlin and Coram both support the Mussel-Free Colorado Act, which would provide funding for more boat inspections on state lakes, including McPhee Reservoir. The bill proposes to charge state boat owners a $25 annual sticker and out-of-state boat owners $50 to generate funds for boat inspections. It's being debated in the legislature. We cannot have our recreation areas closed because we don't have people to inspect the boats, Catlin said. The audience also peppered the legislators with questions about gun control, climate change, and drought management. Addressing the question of arming teachers with guns, Coram left the decision up to school districts. He said about 50 school districts in the state, including Dove Creek Schools and Dolores County School District RE2J, allow it. On improving school safety, Coram said having radios in schools that contact law enforcement directly would help. Right now, everyone calls 911 and it overwhelms the system, he said. On improving rural school budgets, Coram said schools can expect better funding from the state next year because the state budget came in $1.2 billion higher than projected. More competitive pay is needed for rural teachers, Catlin said, and a funding source should be from marijuana sales tax. I did not vote for legalization, but when it passed, the promise to voters was that the marijuana sales tax would be used to support schools, and that is not happening, Catlin said.
According to the Cortez Journal, the Montezuma-Cortez School Board on Tuesday decided to consider a mill levy for the November ballot and discussed replacing the semester system with a trimester system in the high school and middle school. A mill levy was approved as a discussion item, with details to be decided at the RE1 Board of Education's meeting in April. The board discussed focusing on teacher salaries and a possible sunset on the taxation. On November 7th, voters rejected ballot measure 3B, the district's plan to raise property taxes by a vote of 55% to 45%. Measure 3B asked voters whether the board should be authorized to raise and spend additional property tax revenues by 4.96 mils a year, about $2.7 million for collection in 2018, and by whatever amounts the tax increase generated each following year. It stated that the revenue was to be deposited in the district's general fund for purposes approved by the board, including buses, technology, and salaries. Almost 80% of the $2.7 million had been assigned to staff salaries. Some voters expressed concerns that spending would be difficult to track and would not be limited to businesses, or to buses, salaries, and technology. Others said they were concerned that the levy had no expiration date.
From the Dove Creek Chamber, Tuesday, Kendra Cook, the manager of the Dove Creek Chamber and yours truly, enjoyed a visit from the Dolores Chamber of Commerce and Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce manager, the one in the same Rocky Moss. I had the opportunity to sit down with her in studio to record one of the first of the Chamber's new production pieces. The Dove Creek Chamber's in production of what is called In the Chamber, Locked and Loaded for Success, which will be a series of interviews, area economic information, business and marketing segments, and anything else that would be interesting to both Chamber members and the community at large for Dove Creek and Dolores County. The Chamber has a Facebook page which you are encouraged to follow, which highlights tons of news stories and posts relevant to the business community and residents at large. And within that Dove Creek Chamber Facebook page is a new group, which is where you can find the replays of the episodes after they're aired on DCTV's Channel 32.1. The concept of the group is to allow for your interaction with the contents of the productions, to continue the discussion amongst yourselves and make suggestions for topics and people to interview. Talking with Rocky Moss, we found that collaboration among all the entities within the southwest corner of Colorado is truly important and strengthens the base for a secure future. Together, we're working on the branding of the Southwest Adventure Corridor to gather the support from a corridor of communities, drawing a cohesive tourist avenue to drive their adventure from Moab through Monticello, Dove Creek to Cortez, up to Dolores, Rico, and Telluride. It's like one big smile and will help market the communities and opportunities in between the two current destinations of Moab and Telluride. We talk about a lot more in the 16-minute piece, which will air on the DCTV channel. We hope you'll take a look and get involved with the Dove Creek Chamber of Commerce, helping to grow the future together. If you'd like to be a member, the annual fee is just $60, or you can support the Chamber with donations or volunteering to help with the various events. Go online to the Facebook page or the website dovecreekchamber.com or call 970-560-2856.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of March 19th through the 25th. The Sheriff's Office was notified of a med alert activation, but it was located in Utah. The call was referred to the San Juan County, Utah Dispatch Center. An attended death of a town resident was reported by hospice. The Sheriff's Office received several calls for controlled burns during the week. A report of a bicycle that was left near a county road was reported. The owner later contacted the Sheriff's Office to report it stolen, and the owner has arranged to pick up the bicycle. There were several requests for civil service this week that the officers completed. A report of a reckless semi-truck heading towards Monticello, Utah. The officer was unable to make contact with the semi-truck, and San Juan County Sheriff's Office was notified. There have been several reports of juveniles knocking on front doors in the early morning hours. This case is under investigation. The officers conducted several VIN inspections during the week. A wallet was found at a local gas station and turned into the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office contacted the owner and the wallet was returned. That concludes today's roundup. Stay tuned for continued updates.
Today's High Canyon Country happenings, May 8th and 9th, the Canyon Country Discovery Center is the place to be for the 2018 San Juan County Prepare Conference and Expo, which will connect professionals, educators, and the public to share knowledge, research, and experience for improved preparedness for individuals, families, and businesses. From business continuity plans, building 72-hour kits, to great food and vendors, this will have it all. Hosted by the San Juan Chamber of Commerce, it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. each day in Monticello, and a fee of $3 is there to enter. Kids after school pour painting class will be March 30th, both at the Cortez Cultural Center from 4 to 6 p.m., hosting a super fun afternoon of pour painting for kids taught by art teacher and mom Breezy Beckler. Each student will have the opportunity to create two of their very own swirling masterpieces of color. Pour painting is a fun and foolproof method for making interesting abstract designs. Light snacks will be provided. It's ages 10 and up, and the class size is minimum of 6, maximum of 25, and the cost is $25 at the Cortez Cultural Center. And over in the craziness that is Moab at this time of year, Crawl Magazine is hosting an EJS scavenger hunt. Find the items on a list they post on their page online, grab a photo, and upload it to your social media page with the hashtag Crawl 2018 EJS and bring the completed list to the Yukon vendor booth by 2 p.m. Friday, March 30th at the Spanish Trail Arena and enter for a chance to win prizes. That's a clever way to get people involved and organically tag your company for what in the business is known as guerrilla marketing. But if you do head up to Moab, remember it's difficult to turn left anywhere with all that traffic. And all of these happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original posts and local stories. To share your event or information, contact us. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station 970-677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. on each of those days. The weekday news shows are then replayed throughout the weekend as well.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.